Hello, good morning.
Hey, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
And I just wanted to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. So we will be sharing this to more of a public audience, but I just wanted to give that heads up. We'll give everyone a few more minutes to just join.
It's 11 o'clock in China, PM.
Great. I think we have most of everyone. See Sharif joining us. So great. Vanessa, do you want to share your your screen for the slides? I'm going to make you the host, so you have the ability to. And then I think we're waiting for. You're going to have to also let. I think Stuart just joined. Oh, great.
Give me a second.
Great. Wonderful. So welcome everyone to the first of this quarter storage provider working group public meeting. And so we have working groups from all around the world joining us today. But I first wanted to kind of transition this to Stefan to lead for the first half of this call. So Stefan, do you want to jump in?
Sure, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or wherever you're dialing in from. Let's go to the next slide. So today is the first public recording and introduction of the storage provider working group. We made the announcement a couple of weeks ago. Let's go to the next slide, Vanessa. And we announced the working group, and it's been in process for a while. We've been working together, as Clara said, in different locations. And today what we want to do is walk you quickly through what is sort of like been happening in the background. How will we communicate back to the bigger community? What are some of our priorities, and how can you engage with the community? And then there's some room for open discussion, so Q&A. So let's go into the high-level updates first, and then we'll talk about the communication. So let's go to the next slide. All right, so the Filecoin network growth, as we've all seen so far, amazing growth. We continue to grow, and today we're at 9.61 exabyte. This is just as of yesterday. I'm sure, you know, today the network will have been grown again, but we have more than 3,000 storage providers. Thank you everyone for participating and continue to grow the network with us. More than 150 organizations are being built on the network. As you know, we are constantly investing in hackathons and accelerator programs to help build new startups onto the network. So as we have a client and a storage provider ecosystem, we need to build both sides at the same time, and that's what we're doing here, so that we can provide more data that can be stored on our storage provider network. And more than 7,389 contributors on GitHub, and that's increasing on a daily basis as well. So amazing growth that we continue to invest in, and it's amazing to have like 9.6 exabytes sitting there. So some of the priorities in the next couple of months, or one of the priorities at least, is to bring more clients on board as well. So let's go to the next. So if you look at what we've done, so a couple of updates since we started the working group, which has been an amazing engagement and an amazing working relationship, working engagement with the providers, and that is that we've discussed the branding of the word miners. And so we went through a FIP, and the FIP proposed a rebrand of the miner terminology to the storage provider terminology. And so today that FIP has been approved as of last week. Thank you everyone for collaborating on this. So today we love storage providers, as I said, and basically the feedback has been very positive. That means that moving forward, we'll be referring to miner as a storage provider. Hence, also the working group has been rebranded from miner working group to storage provider working group. For more information, check out FIP 18. You can find it online, and please, help us communicate this new terminology to the broader community. So that would include changing the UX of the tools that you build, and also your marketing assets, your website, anything that talks about Filecoin ecosystem. Let's promote it as the storage provider ecosystem, because essentially what we do is we are connecting clients with storage providers. Let's move to the next topic, Vanessa. Another update is that we've sat down and we looked at what are some of the priorities for the next couple of months. And also, this is our first meeting. This is our first public, first time that we actually discuss like what the working group has been working on. And obviously we'll give you more updates as we move forward. But priorities today are to grow and expand our network in new regions and countries. So expand the network, but also diversify when it comes to geolocations. And so our goal is to help build a stronger decentralized network. As I mentioned before already, onboarding new enterprise customers onto our platform is very important. And so we're going to be building case studies. So we're asking everyone in the community to help and bring forward any enterprise customers with public archives or any public data sets today that you are aware of that could be living on Filecoin, but currently are not stored or currently are hidden in some on-prem storage solution or in the cloud. Please bring them to the community. Please bring them forward. We're here to help and help connect the dots and bridges that we have to go build to ingest that data into Filecoin. 3 is growing our staff. So one of the things that we are constantly doing is looking at what do we need to do on the Filecoin Foundation, on Protocol Labs side as well, to help build the Filecoin ecosystem. So we are adding some new resources. Clara will be talking about this as well, but one of them is solutions architects, a program manager, to help build the bigger ecosystem out and create more solutions around our Filecoin stack. Because as we all know, it starts with the data, and then once you have the data, you can build out a lot of extra services on top of our storage network. And then 4, help new storage providers through incubation centers and more content assets. We'll talk about some new tools that we have available now to help with this. And also, we'll talk a little bit about the incubation center. Again, we're always open to ideas. If you're in a region, in a country, you have some crazy ideas that could help us grow the network, please come to us, tell us about it. We're here to listen and see how we can help innovate wherever we can. So let's go to the next. Now, I'm going to pass it on to Clara, right? Clara, you're going to take this from here, the working group overview?
Yeah, absolutely. So just wanted to share a little bit of background for the working group for those that are not as familiar. We launched the working group back in June out of the Filecoin Foundation to really allow the Filecoin network to have a place where storage providers can really think about their voices for resources, services, events, funding, and programs available. And so to date, there's been around 15 or so, 10 to 15 working group members per region. All of these were nominated by the community or by folks from our end or by Protocol Labs as people who are really active and really caring about the voices of all the storage providers in our network. And so we wanted to really allow for a place where everyone can collaborate and also exercise leadership for the community. There was also a group of folks from the Miner X Storage X program that came out that also had similar ideas. And so we really decided to formalize this in June, and we've been doing weekly meetings to kick off the rest of these series. Every single week, there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of energy coming from regions all around the world. So I just wanted to quickly provide an overview on that. Next slide. Yeah, and so, this is what I mentioned earlier. We do want to be super transparent about how the nomination process worked. Like I said, we are in the process of bringing on a full-time program manager to lead the working group, because you can imagine ideas and different needs of the community. We really wanted to make sure we have dedicated staff to be able to allow for collaboration there and ideas to actually become reality. Members of the working group are nominated either through direct recommendations from other participants in programs such as MinerX or the broader miner community. And we, as the foundation, we review all nominations, and we definitely have a good discussion to say, are these folks really great? And so we'll kind of dive later on into folks that are part of the working group. But there's really two main ones right now. There's North America and Europe, and then another one in Asia, which includes China and also Korea. We decided to do this split just because of time zone differences. I know it's very hard to find a time that works across both regions. And then we initially nominated around 8 candidates from the North America region. I think we've added maybe 1 or 2 more. And everyone is kind of, they do their best to participate in weekly calls and workshops to really address some of the needs that they see from the ecosystem. And the nominations from Asia were very similar, where folks from Asia nominated folks that they thought would be really, really great. All right, next slide. So who's who in the working group? So first and foremost, we want to emphasize that all of you as storage providers are the main people that are in charge of making this the best community we want it to be. But you will have our support at the Filecoin Foundation. You'll have the support of those at Protocol Labs. So you guys obviously know Stefan, Jen, Karen. And then from our side, it's myself. There's someone on this call, Sharif, who will be a solutions architect. And then we're also bringing on a program manager to really support all of you guys. So please know that we are here for you. And we're here for you in a very transparent and loving way, where feel free to, really raise concerns that you feel. We will do our best to make sure that we can figure out solutions to all of these. And so you can see from Protocol Labs, they can provide ad hoc support. They'll definitely bring forward new ideas and projects, and also a lot of learning from the community. From our side, we obviously can have the ability to give out grants and other kinds of financial support. We have project management support in the kind of hires that we're bringing on. And then we will also help optimize the communication process, so all of you guys can feel heard. If Slack isn't working, we'll figure out another tool that allows all of you guys to figure out the best means of raising your concerns and communicating to us. All right, next slide. So I did want to talk about new faces here, and some of these folks are on the call, so you feel free if you would like to set up time. We have Sharif, joins us. He has not started yet. Officially, will start in September, but he's going to really be driving a lot of our client work to make sure that we have not only available storage, but clients who want to store. And so Sharif will be leading a lot of that work with incredible clients all around the world. Other faces that you may have seen in previous calls include Caitlin, who came on to the foundation last month as a technical program manager for governance. Some of you guys may have crossed paths with Galen McAndrew, who has been the program manager for our Filecoin Plus program, which, as all of you guys know, really oversees data integrity. And then we will also have incoming a storage provider advocate or program manager who will be overseeing this program. And then new projects, this is a really big announcement that will be shared later on in this call by our intern, Vanessa, will be managed by our bounty board. So we've created a mechanism for making sure that even small to medium-sized tasks, we can figure out ways to reward people in the community to participate, but also allow these kind of materials to surface where it doesn't get neglected if we don't have necessarily staff time or folks in the ecosystem that can help. And finally, we also wanted to update that we funded the Filecoin Incubation Center that was announced in late June, early July. And so many of you guys know the IPFS Force team that has been managing Venus. And so we are really thrilled to be able to fund that program, that entire center and all the fellows within it. And we also wanted to make an announcement that they're still definitely looking for storage providers to engage. And so please do reach out to them if you have interest. All right, next slide. So these are just a quick look at who's who in the different working groups. We want to be fully transparent on who was nominated, who has been participating. And so you'll see everyone's names here as well as their usernames on Slack. Next one. These are the folks that have participated from the Asia working group side. And thank you, you for coordinating all the meetings to date there. And I know Vanessa from RN has also been listening on some of the Asia working group meetings. I did want to note also the notes from all the different working group meetings are available on GitHub. And so we'll make sure that the broader community can also see transparently what's been discussed. Next slide. And then these are the folks from Europe. And I know meetings have been regularly, sometimes every week, sometimes every other week, but there's been also a lot of pickup in the Europe side. So thank you everyone who's participated there. Next slide. So we wanted to kind of talk through the top 3 priorities of the storage provider working group. I've said this before, I just want to say it one more time. We are here to represent the voice of storage providers. And this is really around community-driven priorities. So don't worry about priorities that maybe Stefan or myself might share. This is really to make sure that all of you guys have the information that you need to get the work done. And so we had a Filecoin improvement proposal, change the name from miners to education to storage providers. I apologize that I think some of the name wasn't changed on this slide, but we're definitely in charge of storage provider education, storage provider support, and also facilitating client deals. So these are the top 3 priorities that we've heard from the community as being incredibly important. And we want to be able to ensure that this continues to be the case moving forward. And then Stefan also kind of discussed some of the more ecosystem-wide priorities that you'll understand, we have also simultaneously been trying to prioritize from our end. Next slide. So this is a really important slide here. Feel free to screenshot it if you want, but definitely want to make sure that not only everyone in the working group, but those that are not in it have the chance to be able to raise concerns with the working group and also to communicate with them. And so you will see here, there are different Slack channels for Europe, for Asia, for North America, for Africa. I know the one for Oceania and South America might not be as active, but feel free to find the right Slack channel, and then we'll definitely have folks that will be there to listen to your feedback and then also raise it at our working group meetings at different regions. All right, next slide.
I want to add to that, Clara, that these channels are not new, but they are monitored, as Clara mentioned, right? For any questions that or topics that you would like to see addressed in the working group, and the working group will be monitoring those channels, and on a weekly basis, we are meeting to discuss topics that come up in the channels, or other topics that we would like to communicate back to the community. So really just use the existing channels. And the goal of this session here today is to introduce you to the fact that we will communicate also back to the community on any questions or topics that we have addressed in the working group through first and foremost, like sharing the logs, right, of the meeting notes, essentially, the meeting notes with the community. But also, if let's say there is a sort of a bigger topic that was discussed, we will also take like next steps, as for example, creating a tutorial or create a new issue and GitHub that kind of explains a little bit more in detail what sort of the next steps are, or what are some of the findings are. So the goal is to use this working group, as we talked about, as really going deeper, to go a little bit deeper in certain topics, and have presented, or have the provider voice represented as a whole. So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, and I think there's a question in the chat around whether the channel should be renamed to storage providers. Absolutely, we are working through that. We definitely wanted to also publicly discuss that, so no one suddenly feels like a channel has disappeared. But we definitely did pass the Filecoin improvement proposal last week, so we will officially rename. But we wanted to make sure that there was consensus in the community. So, Eric, do you want to? You said how to be a storage provider in Asia. Can you elaborate on that question? Kind of jump in. Oh, Eric, are you asking how to become one, or how to connect with those in Asia? Or you can respond in the chat. But we can also address some of the questions at the very end. I think Stefan and I want to make sure that there's plenty of time at the end of this call for the community to openly discuss. So next slide. Great. So we talked about this earlier, but we obviously have Slack channels, but weekly meeting notes will be posted in the Filecoin community GitHub. And so you can see the link below there. We can also repost the link in the chat for all of those that may not necessarily have an easy time finding it. We also have the Slack channel, which has all of the channels that we shared earlier. We'll rename it to storage providers just to keep the name consistent. But as Stefan had mentioned earlier, there are a ton of people from our side, from Protocol Lab side, from the community side, that will be sharing back feedback that we hear and raising it in the working group. The working group leaders will monitor these responses, and then making sure that we're not missing anyone's comments or questions. And then we will also have relevant Filecoin improvement proposals called out for the group. So we kind of experimented with that, with even the renaming process. And we're so glad that everyone participated to come to consensus around that particular name change. But we definitely want to make sure that everyone feels like their voices are heard. That is, again, the utmost priority of this working group. Finally, we will also have a quarterly updates, much like this call today, on how statuses are shared. And so we'll recap on decisions made, high-level topics, programs that we launched. You can imagine all of these are so important. There's monthly storage provider meetups. So we have obviously regional meetups, but we're trying to have a little bit more cadence in storage provider meetups that bring along others in the community and also different together. And so let us know what topics you would like to hear about in our Slack channel. And then finally, we have Caitlin, like I mentioned, who joined our team just last month, but she's definitely helping think through governance on the best way for all of you guys to provide feedbacks, to provide guidance and input on Filecoin improvement proposals. So that's definitely areas where, if you guys have concerns, we want to make sure that we can capture and resolve those as soon as possible. So next slide. All right, so I'm going to turn the floor to Vanessa, our summer intern at the Filecoin Foundation, who has been working around some executive operations, but also managing the storage provider bounty board. So Vanessa, do you want to jump in and take it from here around what this is, how we got started?
Yeah,
Give a little bit of background.
Yeah, thank you, Clara, and thank you, Stefan. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, and it is such a great honor for me to be a part of this project. Today, I'm going to introduce one of Filecoin developing project, the storage provider bounty board. So the storage provider bounty board connects contributors with our amazing storage providers and users in the Filecoin community to help build and improve our ecosystem. Our bounty board is intended to motivate more contributors to participate in our project and to solve open issues and get rewarded by doing so. And there are also some topics that are eligible for issues, includes tools, content, bug, documentation, program, discovery process, and we will also add more in the alongside with the time. More detailed information is available in storage provider bounty program pages in our GitHub, so feel free to check it out. And on the next slide, we have 4 pictures, and now I'm going to demonstrate our storage provider bounty board. So first, you want to get into Filecoin GitHub page, which you can see on the first pic, and then go to our community repos, our community repository, and click on storage provider bounty program. In this file, we provide more detailed information regarding this project as shown on the second picture. And then on the third pic, and then the second step that you want to do is to go into the issue page where you can propose an issue by clicking the new issue button in green on the top right. And then when you click the new issue, we will provide you with templates that help you describe your issues clearly and concisely, which you can see on the fourth picture. And after you propose your issue, it will be discussed by the Filecoin team based on the severity and urgency of the issues, alongside with the amount of bounty, which later will be posted in our bounty board project. So this is on the left picture. This is an example of an issue that is submitted according to our template. So basically on the template, it includes 3 points that need to be filled. 1, the proposed issue. 2, why the issue is important. And 3, the task given to the contributors. So all of this, the template is to help contributors solving the problems in a very efficient way. And then on the right picture is the issues that we already posted on our bounty board project alongside with the amount of bounty. So we can see there we put a $200 amount for that project to be solved. And now once the issue is up in our bounty board, contributors are free to solve the problems they are interested in. However, one of the important details that we have is that contributors have to leave a comment requesting to be assigned to that particular issues in order to prevent having different contributors working that same task at the same time. At this point, contributors, after they've done their work, they will have to submit their pull request. And once the pull request is approved and merged, contributors can claim the bounty by opening an issue with our bounty claim template in our issue page. So to summarize, that is my quick demonstration of the current storage provider bounty program. You are more than welcome to give your input to help us improve our project. Thank you. Now,
Wonderful, thank you. Oh, go ahead,
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go give this back to Clara on our next project, the Filecoin Incubation Center.
Great, thank you so much. So I did want to share a little bit about an incredible project that we funded this year out of the Filecoin Foundation, the Filecoin Incubation Center, which is in partnership with the great team from IPFS Force. And so we wanted to bring together the resources from the foundation and also the Venus team to provide not only funding, but also technical support to the small and medium-sized storage providers. And the idea is to make it really simple for storage providers to join the network by lowering their barriers to entry. I want to apologize that I think some of the language here, we did not change it to the latest term. So, but we have a great blog post that summarizes a lot of this effort. And we will also be working with a number of miners all around the world in their implementation of Filecoin. So if you're interested in applying or learning about this program, the link is available below over here, and we'll also share it again in the chat. So thank you. Next slide. This is a little bit more detail on just requirements for joining the Storage Provider Incubation Center. And so these are the kinds of interesting ideas, programs, initiatives that you can imagine that can come out of the working groups, or even as a community that can be discussed to say these are really helpful to have. So the background behind the Incubation Center was really, we wanted to provide free services for especially small size storage providers to reduce their threshold and difficulty to enter the network. And so you can see we have Venus shared module services that help reduce the machine costs, operation and maintenance costs to allow for fault tolerance of the cluster. We do also provide technical assistance for Venus independent modules, and this will help reduce technical difficulties and risks. We also help with successful participants who will receive 100 fill in the prize pool after they complete this program as a fellow. And so we definitely want to make sure that people are able to join and participate regardless of where they are in their business development side of their mining or storage provider operation. And so we definitely want to make sure that this is something that can allow for cost saving, technical support, and troubleshooting for everyone participating. So you can see below to full, there's qualifications, less than 1 petabyte, seal at least 32 sectors per day. And then there's also a second track, which has the Venus Master Fellowship Program, which has some qualifications around technical support or consultancy, ability to support the rest of the ecosystem, and your ability to help bring more storage providers to the network, especially with the Venus implementation. We definitely want to make sure that we can at least bring diversity in some of these participants into the network, and also that everyone can provide feedback. There's a little bit more on the slide that everyone can read. We'll also have these slide notes later on for those that want to take a little bit more time to digest it. I know that I speak very fast, and I know some of you guys only speak in Mandarin, and so we definitely want to make sure that everyone can understand. Great, next slide. So what's next? And Stefan and I kind of jump in on both of these, but first and foremost, we want to see all the topics you want to see discussed aggregated right now in our Slack channel. So we shared all of those Slack channels earlier. So if you're part of the working group, please participate in the closed working group Slacks. If you're part of the broader community, please make sure that you continue to discuss openly topics that you want to see addressed, and we'll definitely make sure that those are raised. As Vanessa shared earlier, we now have a bounty board that allows us to also reward folks from the community around issues and requests. And this can include everything from content to programs to tooling. So the world is your oyster for what you want to do in the bounty dashboard. Definitely make sure that you can feel free to go on our GitHub and push in those requests. And then finally, we are so thrilled for all of you guys to engage and help us build the incredible community of Filecoin and all the storage providers that are part of this. All of you guys listening in on this call, thank you for everything that you do. And so we are only as strong as our community is. And so we want to do everything we can to help all of you guys, for all of you guys to help each other. We're all in this success structure together. So, and then thank you, Patrick, for sharing all of those links. Stefan, do you want to jump in and say anything else here on what's next?
No, it's great. Thank you, everyone, for, as Clara mentioned, right, for what you, and this is the beginning of many more to come as we are building out more working groups in more regions. If you are located in a region, you're listening to this recording, and you don't have any working group in your region, but you would like to stand up and help us by building that, please reach out to us here in the foundation. Just post on the channels that are available, and we'll pick it up. We'll connect to you and see how we can work together on building a community also in your region. We know that there's still a lot of territories out there that we need to evangelize, and the Filecoin ecosystem message and And so we're very excited to help you with that. And moving forward, you'll get more updates on the working groups and open, as Clara mentioned, right? Any suggestions, ideas, we're here to help. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Great.
And I think that concludes today's session, right? And if there's any other questions, I see some great questions in the chat, and thanks everyone for responding. As you can see, the community is already helping in responding to those questions. So I think that's it, isn't it, Clara? Or do we have anything else left for today?
No, that's it. I mean, I think we mostly wanted to open up the floor to anyone who's listened in, just on any questions, concerns. If folks want to unmute and jump in, the floor is now open. And we'll actually probably cut the recording for this session just so people can talk more openly. So we'll cut it from here, but definitely want to hear from the community if there's anything that people want to raise, people want to talk about. We will be doing these public meetings at a quarterly basis just to update the rest of the community that are not participating in working groups what is happening. So we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to learn, to listen, to understand. Any questions, comments from anyone? Feedback? Great. Well, in this case, Vanessa will probably be reaching out to figure out our next quarterly public meeting time. We'll send out a doodle early on for the next one, but this was such a pleasure with everyone. I know there's individual group sessions for North America later today, so we'll have those forms for more discussion to come. But thank you everyone for joining today. Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.